Okay, I think we're good. Sweet. Well, hey there, welcome back. I meant to make a video earlier, earlier this week, but I had been sick, so I hadn't been running. I started a video to highlight me coming back to training after being sick because I had to take like 5 days off. And then on Tuesday this week, I was just not feeling super great on my run. Like my foot was just feeling kind of tight and I ended up getting injured by the end of it. So that has been a bummer. This whole week's been pretty rough, truthfully. Wednesday had some personal things go on in life that were, really, really hard and pretty draining emotionally. It's Sunday now. I haven't worked out in like 5 days. Wednesday I tried biking to cross train and it just hurt my foot still, so I got off the bike, just called it a day, and then some personal stuff happened on Wednesday. I've kind of just been in a cave, honestly, like a mental, emotional cave, and really haven't been training all week. So I'm kind of just going to chat about that, I guess, because it's been a really hard mental space to be in. And sometimes I feel like I'm being really dramatic with when I get injured, but I don't even really know what's wrong yet. I guess some background. I was running on Tuesday. It was just 10 miles, supposed to be a 10-mile, like kind of solid aerobic day. And it was going like okay, like I didn't feel great, but my foot was kind of flaring up a bit. So I've had plantar fasciitis in my right foot, and I thought that it was just a flare up with that because it was feeling pretty tight. And I stopped a few times to kind of try and like stretch it out because it just felt like I was getting a bit of a foot cramp in there, and kept running on it though because I really thought it was just like a muscle cramp. And then by the time I got back to my car, I was in a lot of pain and thought it would just ease up throughout the day, got home and wasn't able to walk on it at all the rest of the day. I couldn't put any pressure down on it, and if I was able to get pressure down, unloading it, like offloading the pressure, hurt really bad, which didn't make me feel super confident about what it could be. I took that rest of the day just off of my foot and then ended up Wednesday getting crutches so I could keep like not load bearing on it, and I've just been on crutches since. So I chatted with my friend Kyle, who's a physical therapist, and we're both just a little hesitant about proceeding with running on it, considering I'm literally on crutches right now. So I'm just gonna keep not loading it with weight because I'm a little concerned it could be something with the bone. The pain feels like it's right down, almost like between the midway point and the proximal point of my fourth metatarsal. So that's not super great because I'm a little nervous it's going to be a stress fracture or a stress reaction, which I've had like once before. Well, I guess like twice before. I've had one stress fracture in my tibia. I've had one stress reaction in my foot, kind of near like the base of my toe. And it just feels a little bit similar to that in terms of pain, which is just kind of nerve-wracking because typically for a stress fracture, it's like a 6 to 8 week recovery road until you can then start a really slow return to run program. I don't know for certain if that's what it is, but considering the pain wasn't really getting a whole ton better, I went to urgent care yesterday, which was Saturday. Waited for like 40 minutes, got an x-ray. Didn't expect to see anything and didn't see anything there, so have scheduled a doctor's appointment for tomorrow, which is Monday, and I'm gonna get in and hopefully we can get an MRI scheduled and just get the imaging done and see what it is. So I'm not super stoked on it. Yeah, like I said, this week's just been pretty tough and it's been kind of, I don't know, just really emotionally exhausting. So getting injured is really hard. I always thought like after college running, because in college getting injured feels like the end of the world just because it's like you're on scholarship and you have a limited amount of time to get ready for the championship season, and it's just like you also have just a limited amount of time in college to train and compete. So you really want to just be healthy and make the best of it. But whenever I would get injured in college, which unfortunately was a little bit frequent, I would just fall apart, like mentally and emotionally. And so I really thought that after college, I would handle injuries a little bit better. And I think I do a little bit, but not as well as I would hope, because I've still cried a lot over this one. I cried a lot when my plantar fasciitis flared up, and it keeps bringing to the forefront of my brain the fact that I still need to work on my relationship to the sport from a mental and emotional perspective. I keep thinking that I'm in a really good place with my relationship to running, and every time I think that, though, it's because running's going really well, and so I'm just like happy and stoked all the time, because the most important thing in my life is going how I want it to go. But then the second it starts falling apart, or I get a little bump in the road, or I have to take some time off, or just something interrupts my schedule in any way, I just spiral. And it really just reminds me that I still have work to do mentally. So that's what I'm dealing with right now, especially with not having worked out the past like 5 days just because of the other just personal things that have been going on. I struggle with this guilt of not moving my body and not working out. And I think that's something that a lot of athletes can relate to. And I know I've chatted about this with other runners and teammates and friends before too, who feel similar ways. You're just kind of tired and pretty exhausted mentally, emotionally, and then also consequently physically. And what your body really needs is some just rest and downtime. We're so hardwired into thinking that we need to constantly be like going all the time and just always be productive and always be doing something to better ourselves from a physical perspective, that we overlook the importance of giving our mind and body some time to rest. I'm really, really bad about that. And that's something that this week I've been kind of forced to pay attention to. I've had really good support around me, which has been really great. And I've been encouraged to take that time to give my mind and body a break, but it has been really challenging. I have been feeling really guilty about waking up in the morning and relaxing and not working out for like 2 hours, but I've also just not really had any motivation to. And in talking to Kyle today, he made a really good point where I'm a very intrinsically motivated person, so I usually don't need people to be like, hey, maybe you should go do a workout, because I'm usually the one doing too much. So if my brain is telling me, hey, I really don't want to go work out right now, like I'm a little too flopped for this, then maybe I should listen to it, because that's really my body trying to tell me something. And I was like, oh yes, that's a very good point. That makes a lot of sense. And I feel like I could tell that to someone if I saw it, but I can't really tell it to myself, because it's very, very hard to see those things when it's just yourself that you're talking to. So yeah, that's a challenge that I've been going through. It also has been making me think a lot about my relationship to food and fuel, because that's something that's constantly been a struggle throughout my life and my time in the sport. So I find that whenever I'm injured or just not working out quite as much, I tend to kind of slip into some not super healthy habits around food, and that I'll tend to try and push off meals and just not really honor the nutrition that my body needs to recover from the injury. And that's something I've been kind of called out on and am bringing awareness to, because I really want to make sure that I'm staying on track with all of that as well, because I mean, yeah, the body's not going to recover from anything if I'm not giving it the fuel it needs. And I've been doing a good job, I will say, this week. I've been eating 3 meals plus some snacks. Some of it's been some some force feeding because I just haven't really been hungry. But it's another thing that I'm just kind of reminded that I need to continue to work on. So it's kind of a bummer that running's not always just like perfect, and it doesn't always just go exactly how I want it to. And yesterday was even the marathon, Grandma's Marathon, that I had been planning to race, and I was already registered for it. I had been accepted into the semi-elite field, and I was really hoping that I would have a really good solid training block to build off of the Houston Marathon, and that I would be able to run a quick enough time that would then be able to get me into the actual elite field where I would have bottle access. And I just feel as though once I get to that point with bottle access on the course, it's going to be a lot easier for me to reach the goals that I'm trying to reach in the marathon, because I won't have to worry quite so much about like how much fluids I'm getting in from those little Dixie cups that they hand out on the sides, because it's really hard to like angle those in your mouth. And instead I'll have a nice sippy bottle that's got exactly the nutrition that I want and need in it. And it just would really hone in on all those last little bits and pieces of marathon training and racing that you really need to get your full potential out of your race. So that happened yesterday, and it's a bummer that I couldn't race it. I had some friends who were out there racing it, and I mean, they all did great. I really wish I could have been there with them. Yeah, I don't know. So my next plan, I think I'd mentioned before too, was to race CIM probably. It wasn't for certain yet, but now that my foot's kind of flared up again, I'm not really sure. Like, it might be fine. Like, it could just be totally fine, and I could be racing CIM still. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel kind of nervous, and is showing me that I need to, again, just kind of like redirect and refocus my mind and efforts, because life just doesn't always go the way you want it. And I feel like I'm being a little dramatic, but also, like I said, it's just been a really hard week. And I don't know. I think I just need to get better at going with the flow. I'm not very good at that. I love to have a routine, and I just love to stick with it. And I think a lot of runners are that way. But I've had a lot of wrenches thrown in the plan, and literally just this week. So yeah, I don't know. I just really want to be running again, and I'm gonna find out tomorrow what exactly it is. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling now, I guess, but I just really hope that my foot isn't anything bad. I still am really nervous that it's going to be a stress fracture. I'll see what the results say tomorrow, and that'll be that. I don't really know what else to say. Being injured just really sucks. It's just a big bummer. It really just requires us as runners to kind of just reevaluate how we are splitting up our time, and how much we're spreading ourselves thin. Because I think a lot of us tend to do that. I really need to focus on chilling and relaxing and letting myself recover. I don't really know what else to say. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just really need to focus on like relaxing and giving myself some grace. I know a lot of us are pretty bad about that. I have been really hard on myself. Oh my god. Elios is like chasing raccoons out there or something. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. This is kind of just like a ramble that I'll probably edit and post. I guess I'll like touch on this later when I know what's up with my foot. I don't really have any sort of wrap up to this, but yeah, that's it. I guess I'll update with how the foot's doing and if I'll be continuing to train. And if I don't update with that, or if I have bad news, then we'll get to see a lot of fun cross-training content and see how I'm gonna come back from this injury. So one of two options: either I'm being dramatic or we're gonna have a lot of fun cross-training content. So we'll see what happens and hope for the best. Fingers crossed. That's it. That's all I've got. I'm gonna go to my doctor's appointment tomorrow and then go to Milestone to work and sell some shoes. So come to Run Club on Mondays and Wednesdays. See y'all later.